Here's my chat with Miss Aunjanue Ellis.
I want to start by going back. I've read about your experience at Tougaloo, which of course is a historically Black college in Jackson, Mississippi, of all places. And I read how that really left an impression on you. And that's been evident, I think, with the anti-racism activism you've done in recent years. Tell me about those Tougaloo days. What did you see and experience that really stuck with you?
My Tougaloo days. Well, Tougaloo is the mecca of the freedom rights movement, period. And the evidence of that is that it was literally the meeting ground for Fannie Lou Hamer, for Martin Luther King, for James Brown. So when I went to school there, that was, of course, in the back of my mind. And I had an awareness that when I walked on those grounds, those were the footsteps that I was walking in. And I did some things while I was there, trying to follow in that tradition, forming this women's group. And we didn't know what the heck we were doing, girl. I can't even, but I knew we got together though. You know what I mean? We got together. And so yeah, I can't say enough about how formative Tougaloo was and still is in my life in terms of, what I try to do as an agitator, and as, creative person in some sort of way.
Was the intention when you first got to Tougaloo to become an actor, or were you thinking you were going to go in a different direction?
No, not at all. I mean, I came to Tougaloo and was, going to follow in, the tradition of so many people in my family and so many Black folks from where I'm from, which is you go to college, you get your master's degree, and either you become a teacher or a lawyer. And if you do really, really well, and really want to do well by your people, you go to medical school, it's just tradition, And so, and tradition because people are choosing things that they think would help them be contributors to their families and contributors to their community. And certainly me choosing to be an actor was not going to be in that path. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that was not going to be the thing to do to bring up my folks,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if my family heard me say that I was raised in poverty, they would be stunned that I would say something like that. But that's the truth. When I came to live with my grandmother, I think if I didn't come to live with my grandmother, I don't think that she would have had to go on public assistance. My grandmother had to stand in line for peanut butter and cheese. And if it were not for me, my grandmother could have subsisted on the garden that she had in her backyard and the fields where we still planted, corn and peas and that kind of thing. But she had me. She had another mouth to feed. So she had to do what she had to do. And for me, it just was not a responsible thing to choose any path that was uncertain, no matter acting, whatever it was. It was irresponsible for me to do something like that. And then beyond that, I had no designs on being an actor, and did not for a very long time. Someone else saw that part of me and wanted to nurture that, and they did. He was this man from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He lived to be 99 years old. He died a few months ago.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. He was, my gift. And he saw that I should be someone who peddles in the creative, right? He saw that and he nourished that. But it really wasn't until about 10 years ago when I was constantly seeing these pay stubs that came from this acting profession that I said that, okay, this is what I do. This is my profession now.
I love that, because I was going to ask, was it that the pay stubs are one thing, but did you feel like, was there a particular role that you had 10 years ago that made you feel firmly cemented into this discipline?
I think when I started doing things that I really was having fun doing, and I was like, oh, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of time, for a very long time, first of all, I was taking myself far too seriously for a 20-year-old, So in my 20s, I was just too much for myself. In a lot of my 30s, I was too much for myself. And so when I got, when I turned 40, late 30s, early 40s, I started doing things that I just really liked and enjoyed. I had a great time doing The Help. I had an amazing time doing Ray.
I bet she don't do this.
Wait, hold on. Come on, baby. Goodbye don't mean gone, okay? I'm not gonna leave my family.
Okay, baby, okay. No need to get sore. How about we give me a little more to do in this show, huh? How about a solo?
These are small roles, but I had so much fun doing them. And I was working with people who I just, they came from celluloid and I was a foot away from them,
Yeah. Yeah. But what's great about that, doing things that you loved and having a great time doing it, is that people were watching you at the same time. One of my favorite experiences early in the pandemic, when we first started realizing that we could group watch things together, it was the Clark sisters when that premiered. It was so much fun seeing all the Aunjanue fans come out in full force, because there were some people who were almost discovering you through that film, while there were so many other people who were very loud and were like, nope, she's been at this and she's been at this level for years. I don't care what you say. It was just such a really great moment. And I would imagine that you felt that when that was happening. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, I'm used to sort of playing these parts where, I come in, have my little scene, and then I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, there she is, and now she's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't complain about that, because I'm in fantastic company and working with people and doing material that, like I said, that I love, and so, the Clark sisters was a shot at just being able to just do the fullness of a character for 2 hours.
Twinkie, you didn't just sell your songs. You sold your future. You sold your sister's future. You sold your children's future. You gonna look back at this day, 20 years from now, you're gonna feel real bad about yourself.
And I had an absolute blast playing that. First of all, because I love the Clark sisters, but, also because I had such a profound respect for Dr. Maddie Moss Clark. And I still think that, people sleep on the Clark sisters. And so to this day, right?
Yeah.
And, but that happens with Black woman genius. We just, we're constantly having to push ourselves to the fores, but that's all right, because that's what we do.
Absolutely. Now, as a native Detroiter, everybody back home appreciated that portrayal. They loved it. They thought it was pitch perfect, because it was. And now, of course, everyone is talking about King Richard, and everyone is talking about you. What were you looking for, generally speaking, at the point in your career when this role came around, and how did that align with maybe the directives that you put forth, what you were looking for?
I'm not a strategist career-wise. Things come my way. And if I feel like, first of all, I can have a great time doing this. And what has become incredibly important to me now is because I know that cinema has to be the place where we can really educate this country about who we are, because they don't want to see it in the classrooms. So we have to do it in the cinema, and we have to do it in television. What I want to do, what I want to be a part of is creating a movement that is about making cinema a place where the truth of who we are as Americans can be told, and the fullness of that. So that's what is most important to me. And with King Richard, people know about Venus and Serena. I knew about Venus and Serena. They are heroes of my life, even though they're much younger than I am. We know about their father, but we know about them through the messenger who told us that he was a villain, that he was a freak, that he was hard to deal with. And so we don't know the measure of Mr. Richard Williams as a genius. And what I loved about the approach to this story was that it framed it in a way that you saw and respected this man's genius.
Richard, we're doing an interview.
What she said it with so much confidence the first time, but you keep going on and on.
But you can't just keep interrupting.
But what you got to understand is you're dealing with the image of a 14-year-old child. Let her be a kid. Now, she done answered it with a lot of confidence. Leave that alone.
You saw how he, along with his wife, a full partner in what they were going to do and what they did, how love was their weapon in creating and building that dream and putting their girls, these young girls, into a place of a world that so readily and easily attacked them.
Yeah.
So they armed those young women with love. So for me, I was chasing this. I wanted to do it. I had to convince them to put me in it. You know what I'm saying? The thing about Miss Oracene is that she's just another example of a Black woman who we don't know much about. So of course we hear things like, Miss Oracene is the woman behind the man, but that's not what she was. Miss Oracene was the woman right next to the man, and oftentimes was showing the leadership that her husband could not do.
Richard, my faith dictates that I stand by your side.
All right,
but
well,
don't
just do that
mistake
then.
my silence for agreement. You do that again, and I won't be quiet.
Now, don't do that. Don't do that.
She was the one who was, working when he couldn't work.
Yeah.
She was the one putting food on the table. She was the one who trained herself to learn tennis so she could teach her daughters how to play tennis. So Mr. Richard was the architect of their dream, but Miss Oracene was the builder.
Oracene, because like you say, we're used to seeing her, especially with her daughters in the stand rooting her daughters on, but we don't often get to hear from her a lot. Where did you start when it came to building her? And how challenging was it for you to bring this character to life in this way?
Well, when I got the job and then had to dive in so far as my, working on the character, and then I started to listen to these recordings that Will Smith and Zach Balin, our writer, and our director, Ronaldo Marcus Green, they did these recordings of her. And so Miss Oracene is on tape talking about her life, talking about her childhood, talking about why she taught Serena how to play how she played.
Yeah.
And thankfully, because I did not get to spend time with her while we were shooting, and before that, it was what I listened to in the morning, what I went to bed listening to at night. And then I Miss Oracene as a Jehovah's Witness, so I made sure that I went to a worship service. Because she's devout, and her relationship with God, her faith is paramount for her. So that was my clay. That was my clay, and that's what I pulled from to, create what you're seeing on screen. And Miss Oracene, is in this line of women that I've been playing these last few years that, people don't know about, but I insist that they do. I had this conversation with someone about Mrs. Hamer, Fannie Lou Hamer, recently. And I said that I went through 12 years of school. I went to 4 years of undergraduate school at a prestigious university, and I majored in African American studies. And never, not one day, did I learn about the work that Mrs. Hamer did. Not
Wow.
one day, not one day
Wow.
did I learn about
Yeah.
her. And when we know the impact that she has on our electoral lives, that's unacceptable. But here's the thing: that's what I feel that my job is to change that. And so when Miss DuVernay says, "I want you to play Sharon Salam, the mother of Yusef Salam," I'm like, bet. Because this when you talk about directive, right? This is what I feel like. This is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do, I feel.
That said, I mean, you're experiencing a newfound visibility right now. After all the work that you've done since getting your first credits, you're getting a lot of love. I think it probably really started with Lovecraft, and now that we're transitioning into the film community really embracing your work, what does that feel like for you right now?
I don't take it for granted. I hope it continues because I got stories I want to tell,
Right.
And so for that reason, I'm happy about that. And hopefully we'll be able to align with and collaborate with people who want to join me and other women who are creating this work where, young Black girls and women, period, can see themselves in a way that makes them feel reflected and whole,
Yeah. Awards have carried so much weight in the past. And Hollywood, it feels like we're at a crossroads right now with some controversial things still, like Oscars So White, which is still in our collective consciousness, and the Golden Globes. And full disclosure, I'm a new member of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, and that voting body obviously is still trying to currently rectify some racially problematic issues, amongst other things. But you even look at box office numbers. We have to rethink, how we define success, because the pandemic has most certainly changed a lot of that for us. But all that said, how do you measure success for yourself? How do you know when you've done a good job these days?
I really want to sound eloquent here.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe transparency is probably more important.
Absolutely.
I don't know. My measure of that is not with me anymore. My measure of that was my mother. And because, I knew when she was satisfied and when she was not.
Yeah.
I knew when she was proud. She was always proud of me. She was always proud of me.
Yeah.
To my embarrassment sometimes, So I don't know. I don't know, because I feel like, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And for those reasons that we talked about, but knowing whether I have succeeded at that or not, awards certainly can't be the measure of that,
Right.
because they are utterly subjective. But the reality of them is that, having my name next to those two other words, so-and-so nominated, it helps my paycheck. It helps me get indoors. It helps me, for all kinds of reasons that I'm sure you are well aware.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to learn is what real success is. So is it my sister being proud? Is it my niece and nephew watching my movies or watching something I've been in over and over? But is it really, my being able to take that check that I get from that job and convert that into something that helps somebody else? And I think that is going to be the long-term measure of my success. At least I know that. But on some days, I gotta say, that feeling, it's hard to pin down.
last question before I let you go. I know that it's early still, meaning this new kind of season of amplification for you. But how is this recent recognition that is coming in the way of award nomination after award nomination after award nomination changed how you will move, in the future?
I think that remains to be seen. So much in this world remains to be seen. Like my sister sent me this text the other day, and it said, somebody tweeted, I just need to get through the rest of this weekend for the last 2 years. And and she's like, I feel that in my spirit. And I'm like, yes, I feel that in my spirit. Where it's just like, oh, can we just get through this week? Can we just get through this day? So I wouldn't dare, having any sort of designs on, what the future is going to bring. I just want us to be here for us to enjoy it. But what I will do in the meantime, as an act of faith, how about that? As an act of faith,
okay,
I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep working, keep trying to tell these stories that I think are so important to tell.
Please do, because those Aunjanue Ellis fans are going to come out in full force, as they did 2 years ago. Thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it. And continued success. It's really exciting to see this journey and this season for you right now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you wanting to talk to me. It means a lot to me. It does.